Okay, yeah, I don't think it's minutes. Okay.
Three, two.
Hello, everyone. I'm Buck Daly.
I'm RJ McPherson.
And I'm Jeremy Schreiber, and we're here to talk to you about the pharmaceutical industry.
Now, before we get started, if any of you have ever taken a prescription drug before, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you have taken 2 at once, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you. Well, according to CBS, research has found that nearly 70% of Americans are currently on at least one prescription drug, and more than half take at least 2.
With that being said, prescription drugs are not inherently bad, and most of the time they either cure or help people remedy their medical problems.
But considering the fact that the pharmaceutical industry is collectively worth over $1.3 trillion, yes, I said trillion, it is clear that pharmaceutical companies have more power than ever and that the American people are the ones paying the price.
So, today, we will be bringing to your attention the injustices being committed by the pharmaceutical powerhouses, which can be simplified into the 3 O's: the overprescribing, overmarketing, and overpricing of prescription drugs. And you might want to pay attention because this might just have the potential to save your life.
So, for our first O, we will be discussing overprescription, the deadliest and most concerning of the O's.
According to new research, when American doctors choose to prescribe their patients narcotic painkillers, 99% of the doctors hand out prescriptions that exceed the federally recommended 3-day dosage limit.
So, you've all probably heard of the drugs Oxycontin, Vicodin, and Percocet at some point or another in your life. And many of you have even taken them at some point to treat pain, such as for post-surgery recovery or even chronic back pain. Old people, I'm looking at you.
But this widespread recreational use of opioid drugs has led an ungodly amount of people down the wrong path. The incredibly easy access to these kinds of drugs, in concoction with their severely addictive qualities, show how pharmaceutical companies have created an epidemic within our country and how they are doing nothing to resolve it.
Researchers found that in 2015, an estimated 2.6 million Americans were addicted to opioids. So, you tell me, what's more startling? The fact that around 75% of heroin addicts used prescription opioids such as Oxycontin, Vicodin, or Percocet before switching to heroin as a cheaper alternative? Or that there are around 30,000 cases of fatal overdose due to these opioids in America?
However, opioids aren't the only class of drugs that are being overprescribed. Stimulants for treating attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, such as Adderall, Concerta, or Ritalin, and central nervous system depressants for relieving anxiety, such as Valium or Xanax, are the most commonly abused non-opioid prescribed drugs for people 14 and over.
That being said, the potential for abuse for any of these prescription drugs is clearly evident.
The Food and Drug Administration, otherwise known as the FDA, and Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, need to take further steps to regulate and monitor the prescribing of these potentially dangerous drugs.
While doctors' prescriptions are filling big pharma's wallets, Americans are lying dead in the streets at their expense.
Tom Braun, a pharmacist and marketing executive for a major drug chain, says that inappropriate prescribing is an academically gentle euphemism for prescriptions for which the risks outweigh the benefits, thus conferring a negative health impact on the patient.
If any of you have ever heard of the famous talk show host John Oliver or seen his HBO program Last Week Tonight, his witty yet expository views of the world events are held in high esteem by many.
Which is why he felt the need to help shed some light on the government-sanctioned opioid crisis going on within our society today.
So here's where we would insert a video of John Oliver talking for 1 minute and 10 seconds.
All right, for the second O, we'll be talking about the issue of overmarketing.
So I bet that all of you watch TV.
And I'm sure almost all of you have seen at least one of the hundreds of different pharmaceutical commercials begging for you to start taking their drugs with the promise of improving your quality of life.
Our good friend John Oliver also found some choice words to say about the idiocracy of pharmaceutical advertisements.
Again, we would put in another video, 1 minute long, again with John Oliver. Drug companies know that doctors hold all of the real power in drug prescription business, and this is why they spend $4 billion each year marketing directly to the consumer, while spending an estimated $24 billion marketing to the healthcare providers themselves. So of course they're going to want you to ask your doctor.
The United States is also the only country, besides New Zealand, in the entire world that allows pharmaceutical corporations to publicly advertise drugs to consumers.
In fact, 63% of physicians surveyed in April of 2013 believe that direct-to-consumer prescription drug ads misinformed patients, and 74% of physicians believe that these drug ads overemphasize the benefits of the drugs, resulting in misinformed patients.
This raises the question of whether or not Big Pharma and our government view the American people as drug consumers in which they are trying to advertise their product to, or as patients that genuinely need treatment.
We were also lucky enough to get the opportunity to meet and to interview someone who works in the pharmaceutical industry.
Lake Highland's own Drew Wilson introduced us to his father, Dennis Wilson, who has worked as a pharmacist for 25 years.
Here's where we would insert another video of an interview with Drew's dad that lasts for a minute and a half.
As you can see, the pharmaceutical industry struggles to find a balance between the monetary incentives of trying to market their products and the moral implications of providing what's best for their patients in the long term.
Finally, we have the third O, which stands for the overpricing of drugs.
Prescription drugs range anywhere from $0 to $81,000 per single pill.
According to the Census Bureau, the average income of an American citizen is around $52,000.
That means that the average American wouldn't be able to afford even one pill of the drug Sovaldi, which is used in the treatment of hepatitis C.
According to Express Scripts, the nation's largest pharmacy benefits manager, from 2013 through 2014, among 31.5 million insured Americans, the average American's annual prescription drug tab is $1,370. Since insurance does help to cover some or all of the cost of prescription drugs, the average out-of-pocket expenses for these insured members ended up being only $185.
The immense price gouging of drugs has become incredibly prevalent in the news today. Here's where we would show a picture of a tweet from Hillary Clinton.
So, Hillary Clinton tweeted that a 10% reduction is insulting. As I said before, the FDA and FTC need to step in to protect consumers, to which Martin Shkreli simply replied, LOL.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Martin Shkreli is an American entrepreneur and pharmaceutical executive. He's the co-founder and former chief executive officer of the biotechnology firm Retrophin, and the former CEO of the Turing Pharmaceuticals.
In September 2015, Shkreli received widespread criticism when Turing Pharmaceuticals bought the manufacturing license for the antiparasitic drug Daraprim.
Daraprim is used to treat toxoplasmosis, but it can also help manage AIDS and other kinds of infections. Shkreli, acting strictly in self-interest, raised the price from $13.50 per pill to $750 per pill, a 5,000% increase, giving him the infamous nickname, the most hated man in America.
Martin Shkreli, however, isn't the only one that's caused a hike in the price of medicine.
Iclusig, which is used to treat chronic myeloid leukemia in some people, had its price raised 4 times in 2016 to an estimated $200,000 yearly cost, an increase of more than $80,000 over the last several years.
So the big question becomes, when does profit become more important than morality?
In 2012, the company Mylan lobbied politicians to create a law that required all schools in the United States to have an EpiPen available on campus. Over 65,000 schools received free or discounted EpiPens.
Although this sounds beneficial to society, this same company, in September of 2016, hiked the price of EpiPen 400%, from $50 per pen to $500 per pen.
However, this didn't go unnoticed, as Scott DesJarlais, a Tennessee congressman, exploited the wrongdoings of this company.
Here's where we would insert another clip that lasts a minute and a half of the congressional hearing. Boom! Roasted. Although nothing amounted from the congressional hearing, the fact that the issue of price gouging was brought to light shows that there is definitely a possibility for reconciliation in the future.
Clearly, the fact that big pharmaceutical corporations can patent vital drugs and raise their prices indefinitely with little to no consequences shows the trapped nature of the patient.
Pharmaceutical companies do immense good for people, and many people depend on their life-saving medicine and research.
However, whether or not pharmaceutical companies are genuinely concerned with the well-being and treatment of their patients today, as opposed to simply making as much profit as possible at the expense of those consumers, is a question that needs to be raised.
The three O's, overprescribing, overmarketing, and overpricing, clearly show that changes to the regulation of drugs in our pill-hungry country need to be made.
With the many recent changes in the United States human rights laws, such as the legalization of gay marriage, transgender bathroom laws, and police brutality, it is imperative that our government regulation of prescription drugs holds the interests of our citizens as the top priority.
Again, I'm Buck Daly.
I'm RJ McPherson.
And I'm Jeremy Scheiber.
And this is our idea worth sharing.